Hi everyone, my name is Marta and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about productivity and specifically productivity at work. So whether you have a career when it's a typical 9 to 5 job, whether you are a business owner or whether you have a business hustle on the side that you are trying to build up, this conversation is definitely applicable to all those types of jobs. I am sure that everybody has those days when you come to work energized, ready to tackle your to-do list, and then things happen. As day progresses, you get more and more meetings that you didn't anticipate. You get phone calls and emails from customers asking for help with an invoice, or maybe they're having a lot of questions about a new initiative. So before you know it, it's the end of the day and you feel like you were so busy, you barely had time to eat lunch, and yet your to-do list is as long as it was before, and you feel like you didn't make any progress towards the goals that you have set for yourself. And having those days once in a while, it's kind of inevitable. You're gonna have them. There is not much you can do to completely eliminate them. However, if you notice that those days are most of your days, that you feel constantly like you are so busy, yet you don't make much progress towards your goals, so you're busy but not productive, then it's definitely the time to sit back and kind of evaluate what is happening and see what steps you can take to address it. If you were to go on Google right now and put in a word productivity or productivity at work, you would be presented with a lot of articles that would give you different tips and different tools and techniques that you can implement to become more productive. And a lot of those things are great. A lot of those things are things that I use, and I have found that they do increase my productivity. However, what I'm suggesting is before you apply any of those techniques, that first you need to determine what are your pain points. And what do I mean by pain points? You really need to narrow down what is causing you to be unproductive. So why is it so important to identify what is making you unproductive? Because then you can actually start using techniques that are mostly applicable to your specific situation. Let me give you an example so you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Let's say there is a person, let's call her Anna, and she is a project manager. She works a typical 9 to 5 job. She goes to an office and she is currently working on 3 different projects. And she is this person, just like some of you might be, who feels like they are very busy. They are working all day long, and yet they don't show much progress in her case on her projects. So she decides to go and implement the time blocking technique. So if you're not familiar with time blocking, just to simplify it, it's basically you are blocking specific amounts of time in your day to work on one specific thing. So in her case, maybe she chose to, dedicate 3 hours every Monday morning to work on project A. And then Tuesday, she can dedicate, let's say, 4 hours in the afternoon to work on project B. So she is dedicating a specific amount of time for a specific task. Now, if Anna's problem with productivity is the fact that she was trying to multitask and kind of work on all the projects at the same time, maybe she was, taking, questions from her team on project A and then just quickly move forward to work on an outline for the project B and kind of going like that about her day, then using this time blocking technique is probably going to help her a lot. However, if Anna's problem with productivity was the fact that she is a very outgoing person, she's very social, and she is very knowledgeable about project management in general, and her colleagues keep on coming to her office asking questions throughout the day, or just to chat for a few minutes about how her day is going, just because that's the type of person she is. But she does, if that's her problem, that she keeps getting interrupted, then simply implementing the time blocking technique is not going to really be very effective for her. She will have those 3 hours blocked every Monday morning to work on project A. She will quickly realize that she still are going to have those distractions. So there are people still going to be coming to her office and asking questions. And she's really not truly dedicating that time to project A. So in that case, that would be really unproductive and ineffective way of her trying to be more productive. If that was her reason for being unproductive, then the first thing she needed to do is to figure out a way to have less distractions, to either minimize them or, eliminate them completely. So either maybe put a sign on her office, do not disturb, have a conversation with her coworkers. Hey, if there is a sign on my door, that means I really need to concentrate and work on that specific project. Or maybe she can request some telework days when she can strictly dedicate those days to work on that project. So she really needed to address that first factor before moving on to anything else. Otherwise, she is not being very efficient. That is why I'm saying that the first step for productivity is determining what is stopping you from being productive. What are the reasons why you are so busy and not productive? So how do we do that? How do we find out what are our factors? So what I'm suggesting is that it is something that is applicable to many different things. If you are not sure what the root cause of your problem is, then the best way to determine that is through observation. So what I'm suggesting is take a typical work week and observe what you are doing. What I mean by that is at the end of each day, make some notes. What was happening that day? What are the main activities you are doing? Did you get distracted by someone? How many meetings did you attend? Were those meetings productive? So basically you are taking just some notes of what's happening each day. Because sometimes I feel like the reasons why we are unproductive are very clear to us. And sometimes it's very hard to notice that, what is causing your unproductivity, because you are doing your day-to-day activities and you're just looking at the person on the inside looking on yourself. So sometimes it helps to put it on a paper, and then as you are doing that, ask yourself some questions like, were the meetings I was attending, were they productive? Did I accomplish the objective of the meeting if it was the meeting that I was leading? Did I spend a lot of time answering emails? Were my meetings scheduled in a way that allowed me enough of a break between them to actually work on something else? So there is a lot of questions you can ask yourself to kind of start thinking about it from a different perspective. And what I'm going to do in the description box below, you can find a link to a worksheet that you can use to take those notes. And I'm going to include one page of different types of questions you can ask yourself, just like the ones I was giving you, to help you understand, what is happening in your day that is causing you to be very busy but not productive. So once you are done with your work week and you have, taken notes from Monday to Friday, take a look at all of those days and identify any trends. And you will quickly see that there are things that maybe you didn't think of before. Maybe you do have way too many meetings, and those meetings are just not productive for you. Things that you just simply got invited to, but you don't see any value in them for what you are currently doing. So maybe you can, if you work the typical 9-to-5 job, maybe you can talk to your manager to see if you can eliminate some of them. Maybe your problem is that you are constantly answering emails. Maybe you can identify some areas in your day where you can dedicate those times to answering emails, and the rest of the time you can dedicate to other projects. Maybe the root cause of your problems with being unproductive is those interruptions, like I gave you in an example before. Maybe you are having a lot of times that you spend answering questions of your colleagues, and you need to address that before you move forward with anything else. Or maybe your problem is that you spend too much time on social media and you get easily distracted by that. So then that is something that you could, eliminate, by either putting your phone away or only checking it at lunchtime or things of that nature. So once you identify what those trends are, then you can move forward with actually addressing them. Then you can choose the right technique and actually implement it and see the results. I feel like this is the best way to approach productivity, because you are addressing the root cause of your problem and you are not wasting time trying to pick and choose what technique is going to work for you when you are trying to address the wrong root cause of your problem. So the important thing to remember is that you're gonna, once you figure out what is causing you to be less productive than you want to be, is that you can address those factors one at a time. You don't have to address everything at once. If it's the interruptions like we talked about in the previous example, then address those first. And then, once you have that figured out, you can move forward with the next thing that you can improve your productivity with. That is all I have for you today. In future videos, we will definitely talk more about productivity and specific techniques that you can use to address the problems with productivity that you have. So again, the idea is to be less busy, but more productive. So make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss any future videos. And if you like the content of this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.